धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणां त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं विचारणैकनिपुना तद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणां त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं श्री चैतन्य कृपा बरौ लोकानां हितकारिणां त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करौ विचारणैकनिपुनं तद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणां त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करौ राधा कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्दौ भजनामृतौ राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्दौ भजना नंदेन मत्तालिका वंदे रूप सनातनं रघुजुगौ श्रीजी कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन परौ प्रेमा निधि सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, the Radha Govinda.
Jai Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I am excited by the background picture that you have. It's such a beautiful temple.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. So you wanted to share right away at some point? You wanted to share screen.
First, you would share the verse and translation after that.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. So I'm going to be putting the verse on the screen so we may start. Okay, Hare Krishna. So I'm sure most of us are already familiar with Her Grace Radha Govinda Devi. She's been on our platform a couple times, and we're always amazed and excited with her presentations and lectures. So I hope we're all going to be enjoying her today. in terms of the lectures. She is also the wife of mighty Kantiya Prabhu, my dearest brother. Yes, so Mother Radha, Govinda, you may take it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Mukakaroti Vachalam Pangoram Gayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Mande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Tinamine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaurakata Damadaya Nagara Gramatarine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Anta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. And we have this very, very thoughtful verse, very relevant verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, the section of Parikshit Maharaj facing his reality. So today we're reading from the first canto, 12th chapter, text number 2. Tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanah nidhanam cha yathaivasit sa pretya gatavan yatha. Translation: how was the great Emperor Parikshit, who was a highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? How did his death take place? And what did he achieve after his death? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The king of Hastinapur, now Delhi, used to be the emperor of the world, at least till the time of the son of the emperor Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Lord in the womb of his mother, so he could certainly be saved from an untimely death due to the ill will of the son of a Brahmana. Because the age of Kali began to act just after the assumption of power by Maharaj Parikshit, the first sign of misgivings was exhibited in the cursing of such a greatly intelligent and devoted king as Maharaj Parikshit. The king is the protector of the helpless citizens, and their welfare, peace, and prosperity depend on him. Unfortunately, by the instigation of the fallen age of Kali, an unfortunate Brahmana's son was employed to condemn the innocent Maharaj Parikshit, and so the king had to prepare himself for death within 7 days. Maharaj Parikshit is especially famous as one who is protected by Vishnu. And when he was unduly cursed by a Brahmana's son, he could have invoked the mercy of the Lord to save him, but he did not want to because he was a pure devotee. A pure devotee never asks the Lord for an undue favor. Maharaj Parikshit knew that the curse of the Brahmana's son upon him was unjustified, as everyone else knew. But he did not want to counteract it because he knew also that the age of Kali had begun, and that the first symptom of the age, namely degradation of the highly talented Brahmana community, had also begun. He did not want to interfere with the current of time, but he prepared himself to meet death very cheerfully and very properly. Being fortunate, he got at least 7 days to prepare himself to meet death. And so he properly utilized the time in association of Sukadev Goswami, the great saint and devotee of the Lord. Parikshit Maharaj ki jai. Can we have the word by word translation, please? You can go up. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this is a very powerful section where we can see the achar and prachar, the way a devotee behaves. And here we are seeing Mahatma means a great devotee. So here we have Parikshit Maharaj, who is a great devotee. Mahabuddhe, very intelligent. So these words, there are two Mahas here. One is highly intelligent, Mahabuddhe, and the other is Mahatmana, means a great devotee. So we can actually see the connection. To be a great person, we need to use our intelligence. This is the way to use the intelligence is described in this particular verse. And another important, there are many, many important words here, but specifically today we will be focusing on these words like pretya, the destination after death, pretya. Okay. And then gatavan, what is the achievement? What is the achievement? Achieved, gatavan. Sa pretya gatavan yatha. So here we are actually seeing that question is being asked like, what did he achieve after death? Because you see, so let's look into our own lives. What is our life? I remember this beautiful bhajan. Ma kuru dhan janna yauvan garvam harati nimesha kala sarvam maya mayamidam akhilam hitva brahmapadam tvam pravisha vidhitva. Prabhupada quotes this. Point is, this life basically is this body, this mind, this family, this house, me, mine, I. All this is what we think is our life, right? Ma kuru, again, me, right? Ma. See the difference, the maha and ma is very, very sky and earth, right? Where the ground level, like the lower level is me, mine. Na no nanna doyamba, me, mine. To think that I'm existing for my pleasure, and this is my world, this is my family. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, when he sings, he says, he doesn't say my family, mine. He actually says, whatever I've been given, dhana, jana, the people that I've been given, the money that I've been given, the family that I've been given, it's actually yours, my dear Lord. And if I can screen share, if you can enable me to share my screen, I have very, very relevant quotes to share with you all today and share this burning realization that I have about what is separating me from this thought that Parikshit Maharaj has. See, he's completely surrendered. He's completely aligned to the will of the Lord. He's so aligned to the will of the Lord, he couldn't even care about his own life. And it's not like he doesn't care about his life. Like sometimes when we are depressed, right? We don't get our desires fulfilled and we're thinking, I don't mind dying. It's not that kind, okay? He's the emperor who has everything imaginable. This mind, a greedy, nonsensical mind, whatever it imagines, you multiply that by 1,000,000 times. Parikshit Maharaj had all that. And yet he didn't counteract. You know what he had? He had mystic power. He had bhakti. He had connections, okay? Krishna had saved him in the womb, so he could save him again, but he didn't go there. So I want to share a few quotes with you and, jump into this discussion, and let's look into how this is relevant for our life and what is separating us from that pure consciousness of where Parikshit Maharaj is and where we are. This is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was the guru of Srila Prabhupada. So this is what he says. Anybody would like to read this? Any volunteers?
A devotee feels the presence of God everywhere, but one averse to the Lord denies his existence anywhere.
We've seen this, right? We've seen with people who are atheists, anything you bring up, they will say how God doesn't exist. And then if somebody believes in God, everything, the rain, the sun, the people, the criticism, the acceptance, the rejection, everything, we say, oh, this is the plan of the Lord. So this is the difference. And now we're not only talking about atheists and theists here, okay? We're going a little bit deeper. We're talking about our own mind. We have the good dog and the bad dog right inside here, okay? So the good dog, it wants to see God's plan. It wants God's plan to work out. And then the bad dog, the bad one sitting there, it says, no, let's get my will. I want it my way. It's like, imagine if Parikshit Maharaj had that. He gave power to the bad dog. He fed the bad dog. Then he would be thinking, I'm going to take revenge on this little boy. Who does he think he is? Doesn't he know I'm the emperor of the world? He's going to get his lesson, and I'm going to live my life joyfully. Why should I give my power to this boy? So that would have been his will. No, Parikshit Maharaj aligned to God's will because he could see this quote here. He felt the presence of God even in that situation, even at the time of death. 7 days, countdown has begun. And yet, he's not thinking me, mine. He's thinking, because he's called Maha, right? Maha he is. He's a great devotee. Mahatma he is. And so he's able to hand it over to Krishna and say, Krishna, I'm working for you. So that's the difference. That's the distance between where we are and where Parikshit Maharaj was. The distance is essentially, it can be in 1 second, the distance is how much are we willing to give our life's control to Krishna? Like Arjuna had done, right? He gave the reins and Krishna was driving the chariot. Who is driving your chariot? Who is driving my chariot? Krishna is always ready, willing to take care of us. Here you can actually see Radha and Krishna, and in the middle is the Jiva. So Krishna and Radha are always wanting to protect us. They want to show their presence. Do we want to see it? That's a question. So now there is this very, very famous prayer. This is like a foundation for human beings who believe in God to hand over to God and accept his will. I want to bring this prayer up because this Parikshit Maharaj's instance of, okay, I got a curse, I got 7 days, I'm going to live the best. I'm going to go to Shukadev Goswami, I'm going to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And when something happens, I mean, for us women, something really small like our hairdo is not very nice today. And then, we lose our sense of direction and orientation. And we want to whatever it is, cancel going to a party or cancel going to a program or feel really bad and insecure. And so a little hairdo can really spoil our mood. And, we don't want to align to God's will. So here we're speaking about life itself. So there are some things we cannot change, okay? Once we've taken the airplane of our life, once you're flying up in the sky, we either have a choice to utilize the time wisely or mess it up, or we can mess it up in many ways. Even if it's like a 2-hour flight, you can mess it up. Say you have a flight from somewhere in, say in Nigeria, you have a flight some city to, say you have to go to Ghana, Accra. Then you have those fixed amount of minutes. You can either read a book and improve your knowledge. You can pick a fight with the next door passenger. You could create a havoc in the airplane, or you could read a book and learn a language, or you could make friends with the person next door. So there are some things that you cannot change. Like you cannot change the air hostess. You cannot say, I don't like how she looks. She's not wearing a sari, so I don't want her. Or you cannot change the pilot, right? In Parikshit Maharaj's case, he could. Okay, so that's the difference. In our case, we cannot actually tell people, hey, you know what, I want this. We cannot. So then there are things that, like I said, we have free will. but we need the courage to choose the right thing. So this is the prayer. We know there's Krishna. We can say Krishna instead of God. I'll repeat after me if you like. Krishna, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And your will, Krishna, your will and not mine be done. This is very important. May your will prevail. Because when I put my self-will, everything goes wrong. But when I hand it over to Krishna, nothing goes wrong. Even though it may appear like, oh my God, I'm losing control, what's happening? Krishna knows, he can see the future. We cannot, because we are so absorbed in our, whatever it is, our hair, our appearance, our image, our family, my position, my power, my social status, whatever it is, we are absorbed, we are obsessed about it. We are addicted to power. We are addicted to relationships. We are addicted to people. We are addicted to social status. And so our mind tricks us every time. And therefore, it becomes like an obstacle, right? And please, let's keep this prayer in mind as we are getting into the discussion. So this keeps us, right? This inability keeps us away from chanting sincerely, because, you know, here is the secret to connect. This is the phone call. This is that connection, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Snapchat. I mean, you name it, okay? Everything. It's right here. We don't actually need anything. You don't need likes. You don't need shares. You don't need people to actually feel that sense of connection. What we actually need is that here, right here, okay? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, anybody else would like to read this? Any ladies, beautiful ladies? You don't have to show your hair.
Anyone who wants to read can just unmute and read, please.
Okay, very, very shy audience.
All right, everyone sincerely takes shelter of the holy names of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. He will achieve spiritual perfection within the compass of his normal daily activities.
You know, when I read this, one of the first thoughts that came to mind was, do I want spiritual perfection within the daily activities in my life? I got so many things going on in my mind, man. I mean, I don't know if I want spiritual perfection. So that was the honest thought. And from there, we can actually look into it. Okay, so that mentality I have, has it given me fulfillment? Has it given me perfection? I mean, not perfection like spiritual, even mundane level. Am I happy in my life? Am I happy the way my life is, right? So these are the questions we can ask ourselves. Why is it that I'm not actually aspiring for spiritual perfection? Because we haven't gotten the taste for it, right? And we have more. I mean, today I chose like Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes, okay? My friend, you're being washed away in material nature's waves of time. Please try to understand that you're the eternal servant of the Lord. Then everything will stop and you will be eternally happy. See, this is just way, it's like we are being washed away. Every single day is one day less in this body, in this lifetime. And it's like waves of time is taking us away. And we are investing in the wrong relationships, in the wrong thoughts, maybe not meaningful careers, wasting our time, wasting our energy, trying to find fulfillment. Why? Because we are doing it with self-will. We are not understanding, I want to work for God. I am a servant of God. That makes a big difference. When we start working for God, all this nonsense of fear, of guilt, of shame, of envy, of insecurity, of anger, all these things takes a back place. It will still be there as a background. It's not going to disappear, but it can be an impetus for us to realize that I don't want to be the slave of my anger. I don't want to give myself my lifetime to this fear. You know, we have so many reasons to be fearful. Okay, this is something you need to look at me when I'm saying this. We get stopped by any damn thing coming in our way. Oh, I am a woman. Oh, I am an African. Oh, I am young. I am old. I am this. I am that. Anything, right? From the color of the skin to our sexuality, to our skills, to our profession, something or another takes over our opportunity to experience life, to be a servant of God, to allow God to work through us, to work for God. Instead, we work for our fear. Many of us, we keep giving in to that fear. Oh, I cannot give a class because, I'm overcome by fear. So you work for God or you work for fear? I ask myself that question often. And sometimes become a slave for guilt, right? Guilt and shame. Oh, I made this mistake and I should never do this again. And Parikshit Maharaj could have drowned himself in the pool of guilt and shame. Oh, I should not have put the snake around Shamika Rishi. Why did I do this? And he could have just gone completely in tamoguna and in terms of ignorance and lost his sense of purpose in life. Did he do that? No. That's what makes him Maha, great. A devotee who wants to utilize the time properly overcomes fear. He didn't become scared. Oh my God, what am I going to do with this curse? Oh my God, what am I going to do? He didn't get into the whole fear. Nor did he get into guilt and shame. I shouldn't have done this. I should have done that way and this way. No guilt, no shame, no fear. Hey, there's another one of our favorites, right? Most of us. Anger. He didn't get angry either. He could have gotten so angry and cursed back and done anything. He had all the powers to do it. We usually get angry, but we have no powers. Even that, okay, all these three things, okay, they're gates to hell. Of course, there are many more. These are something I'm mentioning in relevance to this pastime. And sometimes we give in to lust, right? We get into, we want to escape. We don't want to face our reality. Maybe we are cursed. Maybe we only have 7 days to pay whatever the bills or whatever we need to get done. And we want to escape. So maybe we go into binge watching, right? Watching some stupid things which have no relevance to our life, and it's going to only make us feel worse. Or invest into wrong friendships, wrong relationships. We know this is not good for us. We still go there, right? So these are different ways we are blocking ourselves from connecting to Krishna. And therefore, we're not actually experiencing the purpose of our life. We're not actually moving, not progressing towards the purpose of our life. So it's very, very important to take a look at ourselves and see what is blocking me. What is between me and Krishna? So let me go back to the presentation. I have a few more things there. Here, everything is yours. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He's again and again quoting this, even in his Gopinath song. I am merely a servant, certain that you will deliver me. I've chosen your lotus feet as my only shelter. I no longer belong to myself. Oh, actually, I didn't share the screen. I was just
reading. You didn't share. Okay.
So the prayer is powerful. Again, why? I mean, we have 10 devotees here, Vaishnavis and Vaishnavas here. And when I asked, can we read it? There's something that, we are holding ourselves back. Okay, what is it? I mean, this is not such an important thing, but maybe in your life you're doing that. That may be an important thing to take a look at. So this is the quote I just read. Everything is yours. Gopinath mama nivedana shuno. My mind is so absorbed, me, mine. I'm thinking, I belong to me. What will people think about me, right? We have so much that sense of image. But once we can actually hold on to Krishna's lotus feet and say, Krishna, I fire myself. I fire Sri Radha Govinda. And I hire Krishna to be in charge of my life. I'm fired. I don't want to make decisions for my life anymore because I've seen it. I've done that. I've been there. It doesn't work for me because it makes me miserable. I mean, these are questions to ask ourselves. Has our decisions in life led us to the right place? Decisions meaning not like the major super decisions, but decisions of the mind, when it says like, oh, escape into this, or don't do that, don't do this, like looking at our regrets, right? So let's get straight into it. So this is the little list I have here. The difference, symptoms that are distinct, you can distinguish between self-will. Self-will basically is like bondage. It's a bondage, okay? It's like bondage of self, thinking about what makes me feel good, not thinking of others, not thinking of God, putting ourselves, my needs, my mind in the center of my solar system. So let's look at this. Symptoms of self-will. First thing is we're getting upset, right? This is like, we want things our way. I wanted it this way. Why couldn't you do it? It's their fault. I was not able to do this because my mother was like this. My father was like this. I was abandoned. I was rejected. We get upset, right? When we don't get things our way. It's because this person didn't fulfill my expectation. Like Parikshit Maharaj could go on and on and on about it. He could be really upset. I mean, he's got pretty good reason to be upset here, okay? We're talking about like his life going to go away in 7 days. So we're not talking about, the hairdresser made a mistake, or, I mean, I'm just kind of giving these superfluous examples, but it could be anything in our life. Oh, my friend didn't even look at me. I greeted them and they didn't greet me back, and then we could actually hold on to that for weeks and feel bad about it. Right? Why? Because it's self-will. We think I'm the center, I'm important, you got to treat me right. You need to pay attention to me. So that's self-will. And what happens when we expect people to like put us in center and respect us? We will be disappointed, okay? Let's welcome to the material world. Whereas signs that you're turning your will over to God, will over to Krishna, we are calm. Parikshit Maharaj was calm. He wasn't angry. He wasn't upset. He wasn't freaking out. He was calm. You were telling endless stories in your head. Something happened. You passed by that other devotee, a friend. You greeted them. They did not greet you back, right? In your head, in our heads, we go on and on. I think this person hates me. Right? This person really thinks very bad about me, probably. I think this person doesn't respect me. We go on and on and on. The fact is the person did not greet you. Maybe they didn't even see you. Who knows what the reality is? But the mind tells all sorts of stories. But the last time I did this for them and that for them, they're so ungrateful. And the mind starts offending the person. And then what we're doing, we're essentially complicating our karma. But when we are turning our will over to God, you say, oh, God didn't allow the person to greet me back. So you're not plagued by stories. You just leave it, the things where they are. You don't complicate things. Next is you're justifying your actions to yourself or others. Oh, this happened because, I could have done it better, but this person interrupted me. We justify, no, but I didn't want to do that, but it happened in this way. Parikshit Maharaj or Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruva Maharaj could justify very much the situations in their life. Okay, Prahlad Maharaj was a little boy of 5 years old and his father wanted to kill him. And he could justify his actions. Oh, I didn't want to irritate my father. No, he didn't justify. So he didn't feel like, see, the signs that turning over is you feel no need to justify your actions. And that was Prahlad Maharaj. And that's Parikshit Maharaj. No need to justify. Sometimes we become very overconfident, right? We become overconfident and go around like, oh, I did this and I did that. And we try to justify, I may have not done that, but I have done this. Usually when people do that, we can feel the energy of people, right? We actually feel like he or she doesn't need to say that. They don't need to really do that, And then self-will is we're making a lot of plans. And when we hand it over, we are focused on the next right thing. I don't know how to emphasize how much this principle has helped me. Focus on the next right thing. Don't give in to guilt. Don't give in to fear. Don't give in to shame. Don't give in to anger. Just do what is the next right thing to do. Don't mess it up more. And what Parikshit was doing, he was doing the next right thing. Preparing himself. Next is you think you can or should handle everything alone, not asking help. right? We think, oh, I got 7 days, I'll lock myself up and I'll do something on my own. Parikshit, he was open to get help. He went out there, he sought Sukadeva Goswami, he sought the association of the sages, taking help. When we're feeling depressed, when we're not able to chant, connect with somebody, sit with them online, whichever country they are, chant together. We sometimes do that, me and my friends. Sometimes when we're having a hard day, we haven't been able to chant, we connect with each other, we just sit there and chant with each other. Take help, get help, be vulnerable. Next, you argue with or reject the suggestions of others. See, again, that closed-mindedness, but instead turning your will to God, you can let it go and take suggestions without fear. Oh, what does God want me to hear today? What is his will for me today? What is Krishna's will for me today? See, our God can be of different understanding. Some of us may see Krishna as a friend. Some of us may see Krishna as the father, right? Some of us may see him as a lover. So there are different relations, mellows of relations. It doesn't matter what it is. The fact is he loves us, and Krishna is incapable of rejecting us ever. He just is incapable, regardless of where we are in life, what mistakes we have, what faults we have, what sins we have committed. He's just incapable of rejecting us. So even patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. So even if we bring him a little flower, a little leaf, a little water, he accepts it. And my grandmother often tells me, Krishna will not keep the obligation even of one flower. If you've offered him one flower, he'll make sure to make your life easier, your path easier. He will help you. So always take opportunity to offer something, offer everything to Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashnashi, yat juhoshi dadarshiyat, yat tapassasya kaunteya tat kurushvama darpanam. Krishna is telling Arjuna, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever you do, Arjuna, offer it as an offering to me. And that's a perfection, right? By the way, I think the word perfection is very risky. We should say progress. Always, this is another principle which has helped me. Progress and not perfection. That's the way to go on the path of Parikshit Maharaj. To do the next right thing and progress. Even if it's not perfect, do the next right thing. Okay, I have a couple more slides. This is a very powerful recovery prayer. You know, this is like originally from Alcoholics Anonymous people. They came up with like 12 steps. And this is the third step. I mean, you know, these are like millions of people who have recovered, just bringing God into their lives, and they don't even know Krishna. They don't know Lord Chaitanya. They don't know any of these names, but just that faith they have, they made a decision to turn their will and life over to the care of God as they understood him. So the level of understanding is not even like, we are so fortunate because Srila Prabhupada gave us the knowledge about Krishna. They don't even know Krishna. They don't know Rama. They don't know Govinda. They don't know Chaitanya. But their lives have been completely transformed. Why? Because they have that faith and they've handed their life and will, not self-will. May it be as Krishna wills. And what's the principle? Faith and commitment. And what's the problem? What's the obstacle? Selfishness, self-centeredness. Thinking like me, again, me. By the way, in Sanskrit, swartha means selfish, but the best ultimate swartha is there are the good side of swartha, and then there is the lower side of swartha. The higher side of swartha means we do the best for ourselves. And what's the best? Give the reins of your life to Krishna. That's the best. And then the lower is, no, let me fulfill my needs now. And where is that going to lead us to? We all know. And then the purpose. The purpose is to make a decision to seek and follow God's direction. Again, not giving into fear, not giving into anger, but making a decision. God, Krishna, I work for you. Please let me be an instrument. And what we need to practice, we need to practice willingness, being open and surrender. Okay, this situation has come. There's some lesson for me. Krishna, please help me to see it. And then prayer, asking, the devotee is asking Krishna for help and praying to be guided to do the next right thing. And what's the process? Again, surrendering that self will abandon. When Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam praja, he's saying, please abandon all kinds of varieties of religion, abandon everything. So when we go to Krishna, we need to abandon that self-will. Instead of, Krishna, I want you to help me, but I want things my way. It's like trying to ride two horses at the same time. It doesn't work. So what's the promise? As we become conscious of Krishna's presence, we will lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or of this, of that. And what's the idea, the proposal? There's a question to ask yourself. Am I willing to have Krishna guide my recovery, my life? This is a little thing from a big book thing. Krishna, I'm saying Krishna instead of God, but Krishna, take my will and my life. I offer my life and my will. Guide me in my recovery. Show me how to live. So when we say guide me in my recovery, see, we are spirit souls who are naturally full of knowledge, full of bliss. See, Mahabuddhe in Sanskrit, Parikshit was known as Mahabuddhe, very intelligent, highly intelligent. That's what we are originally. But because of self-will, we are covered. So when we give up that self-will, when we abandon that self-will, intelligence will shine again. Krishna himself promises that he will give the intelligence to face difficulties in our life. So here, we need to be shown how to live. Okay. We have any questions? Any questions, any comments so far? Before I share the last two slides I have. Are you alive? Are you awake? Are you aligned?
Maybe questions after you are done.
Okay, questions after I'm done. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So I just have one other, this is like a little, it's a serious thing, but I'm going to share it with you. And I'm hoping that you will find it useful. See, these are things I basically challenge myself. I'm asking myself these things. And when I read the verse, this is what I came from myself. And I said, I'll share the same thing with you all. So this is something again about God's will versus self-will. Okay. Now, honesty. What's the definition of honesty? Not deceiving others or ourselves. For me, the challenge is often like, it even takes a while to figure out that, oh my God, I'm not being honest with myself. I started doing like a little inventory every day in my journal. Dishonesty. For example, I'll give you one example. I have a friend, neighbor, who appears to have very good parents, very loving and very generous and very, very nice things. And the person is very confident and quite like rude and arrogant towards other people around. So when I would look at the person, sometimes the person commented something very rude to me. And I had this thinking in my head, what's wrong with this person? She's got everything I didn't have. Great parents, great facilities, everything she's got, and she's had perfect everything. This is me telling myself, right? I don't know what's wrong with this person. Why can't she be nicer? But, I figured out after working on myself and asking these questions, I haven't been honest with myself. How do I know she's got all together? How do I know she's got everything? How do I know if she's receiving love from the parents? That's what I may see. See, that's my story. But we don't know the reality. In fact, very recently, some things got revealed about certain issues, etc. And I thought, oh my God, I was deceiving myself, telling myself that person has everything. It was a way for me to escape and tell myself that person's got everything. I don't have, so it's okay for me to not be whatever, maha, right? The person needs to be better. Me, I don't need to be better because I want to remain in my victimhood. So that's me being dishonest. So similarly, it can mean different things to each of us. Dishonesty is not just saying, oh, I didn't steal when you steal. It's gross level. But there are many levels of honesty to take a look at ourselves and say, am I telling the truth to myself or not? Okay. Then application. Every night I do this little entry. Was I honest today? Was I dishonest? And it really gives me that sense of openness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says we should be introspective. We need to hand over whatever we have. Sometimes whatever I have is a garland of faults I have done. And Krishna is actually called a Grini Gramani Shrimanya Yo Neta Samirana Sahasramurtha Vishwatma Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. This is Bhishma Dev. He speaks about this in Mahabharata, the glories of Krishna. He says, Krishna is so amazing. He wears a garland that is offered by, he wears a garland of faults that is offered by the devotees. So when we go to Krishna and say, Krishna, I made this mistake, I have this character defect, Krishna wears a garland of that. He's so amazing, right? So the point is being honest and telling ourselves, this is what I've done today. This is my inventory for today, Krishna. Have I been honest? Have I been selfish? Whatever it is, that is our issue. Each of us have our own anarthas, right? We have our own character defects. Unselfishness, what is it? A commitment to fairness and justice and a willingness to share. This is Parikshit Maharaj thing as well. He knew what happened to him is not right, but he had that ability to stay unselfish and try to see Krishna's hand in that. And question, he thought, right? How will this affect the other person? So he was very considerate. He didn't want to curse. He didn't want to curse back. He didn't want to take revenge because he thought, what's the point anyway? So the question is again asking ourselves, have I behaved selfishly today? And then purity, freedom from being controlled by our desires or fears and insecurities. Actually, most of us think that, oh, purity is only about control of the senses or desires. But the truth is, purity also means to be free from fear and insecurity. To stop thinking, I'm this, I'm that, I can't do that, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not intelligent enough. This is all nonsense. This is not Krishna conscious. Being humble is very different from having low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is tamoguna, or it's like in the mode of ignorance. So asking ourselves, is it right or wrong? Am I escaping from my responsibilities by telling myself being controlled by my fears and insecurities? Are my motives pure? And then there is the love aspect, the quality of the heart which lies at the root of all the core values, a readiness to let go of hatred and jealousy, a commitment to forgive and to be compassionate. Asking ourselves, is it ugly? Is it fear-based? Or is it beautiful? Is it based on faith? Is it based on seeing Krishna's hand? And am I acting out of love or am I acting out of envy? A while ago, I was like noticing that my emotions were being very disturbed around a specific person. And I couldn't understand why. And then I said, let me deeply look at it. And then I started discussing with one of my mentors. And then I said, oh, what if Guru Maharaj gives more blessing to that person than me? I said, okay, what does blessing mean to you? And my mentor asked me this question. I said, blessing means to become more humble, to become more empowered, to become more pure. And then the person asked me, so why are you bothered if the other devotee gets more mercy? You don't want them to? And then the person asked me, it seems like there's some envy there. There's some jealousy there. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't notice that. I didn't even know that I was being jealous or envious. So sometimes we're amongst our own people and all these negative thoughts and emotions are taking over and we don't even know what's going on. But when we catch ourselves and say, hey, wait a minute, why are you feeling so scared? Why are you being so defensive? Then when we catch ourselves, hey, this is envy, immediately, what do? I apply the principle and say, Krishna, please bless this person. May that person be blessed. Now, when we immediately switch to that non-enviousness, nirmat saranam satam, if we need to come into Krishna consciousness sincerely, truly experience it, we need to become non-envious, which means we need to we have to catch ourselves. Be honest with ourselves and catch ourselves where we are being envious, where we are being angry, where we are being guilty, where we're being fearful. That's the only way. That's the only way for us to become connected with Krishna. Otherwise, we will stay disconnected. Govardhan Hill is giving shelter. Always, Krishna has lifted the Giri Govardhan. But it's up to us if we want to go under the hill or rot outside and try to stick to this umbrella and that umbrella and try to take shelter of this and that. About wealth, maybe about work, maybe about relationships, maybe. No, Krishna is there waiting for us. We just have to go and take shelter of him. These are some of the points. If you have any questions or comments, please, this is the time.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mother. That's a very beautiful class, especially with the PowerPoint presentation. So at this point, we ask all devotees to use the hand emoji and ask questions if they have any question. Well, Mother, I have one question from the purport. And if you wouldn't mind, I'll put it on the screen. Where I highlighted, Srila Prabhupada is saying that Maharaj Prakshit is especially famous as one who is protected by Vishnu. And when he was unduly cursed by a Brahmin's son, he could have invoked the mercy of the Lord to save him, but he did not want to because he was a pure devotee. A pure devotee never asks the Lord for any undue favor. So my question is, what is considered to be a tangible favor and undue favor? To my little brain, I do not see how something as death, which is like the epitome of fear and worry for human beings in particular. In fact, even animals also try to run away from death. If Prakshit has been cursed, which was an unnecessary curse, what would there have been any wrong in Prakshit asking the Lord to reverse, or like you said, Prakshit himself could have reversed the curse, but he didn't, and he did not ask the Lord for reversal. Why is that an undue favor? I guess that's just my question. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. That is a very, very relevant question. We often think, should I ask Lord for this? Should I not ask Lord for this? So there are three aspects here, okay? The first aspect is, would it be wrong on part of Parikshit Maharaj to ask for his life? Now, the question very much depends on the motivation. It's often like that. When we approach the Lord, it's not so much what we ask, it's why we ask. Same thing with the Pandavas as well. It's not what, it's why. Okay, the why is what brings us to God. Now, what we want is, again, me-centered, right? But then when I transfer that priority to God, then it does not, it's not anymore about, will I live? How long will I live? It's not anymore about that. Does God have a purpose for me? Is there something I need to do for God? Oh, then I'm going on the exile. I'm waiting 18 years, 12 years on exile. I'm going to come back and kick the backside of Duryodhan and get back our rightful property, okay? So now everything is dependent on why. This is the key answer to the question about whether if it would have been wrong for Parikshit to have asked. Why would he ask? If a great devotee, Mahabuddhe, Mahatma person like Parikshit Maharaj would ask to be spared for his life, definitely there was a reason good enough to save the world, to save humanity, to protect others for the sake of some bigger purpose of the Lord. And only if there was a purpose of the Lord would he ever ask, right? So this is the first key point. Second point is coming down, this is kind of like the levels, okay? Levels of asking God for favor. Second is a very personal thing for me. As a child, my grandfather would often teach me, he would say, don't think that anything is big or small for God, right? Nothing is too insignificant. Like if you're feeling scared of like we would stay in these traditional homes where the bathroom would be outside the house. So you had to kind of walk outside. And I used to sometimes fear. And my grandfather had taught me some shlokas. And at the same time, he had met Srila Prabhupada, and he's a pure devotee that I've known in my life who's been such an example. So he would tell me you shouldn't ask favors from God. You shouldn't ask for mundane material things. So I asked him, is it all right to ask Krishna to give me strength and courage to do, because I sometimes fear darkness, fear to walk alone. Is it all right? I would ask these questions to him because it sounded contradictory when he said, nothing is insignificant. If you are afraid of dark, Krishna cares about it. He wants to help you. But then on the other side, you're telling me don't ask anything for yourself. And this is for myself. How do I reconcile these apparently contradictory statements? And then he would explain very nicely. He would say, you see, you should always, whenever you pray to God, you should always ask, Krishna, if you wish, then you please relieve me from the fear of darkness, right? So there's always, if you wish. And when Srila Prabhupada was very, very sick, and he was about to leave the body, but he had his purpose still unfinished, he requested the devotees, sorry, 1 second, I just want to make sure my computer is charging because I don't want the battery to go off. Okay. I'm safe now. Now, when Srila Prabhupada requested the devotees, he specifically said, if you so desire Krishna, you can see those letters, you can see those conversations in those days, very, very specific. If you want Krishna, then please save our spiritual master, because he has some unfinished business. So that was Srila Prabhupada. And also my Guru Maharaj, when he was going through his health crisis, he did the same thing like Srila Prabhupada. If Krishna wants, then let me remain back, because I still have so many instructions of Srila Prabhupada to follow. So when a great devotee asks the Lord for favor, it's not for sense gratification. It's not because I think it's good. We ask because there is a higher purpose. There is something that the spiritual master tells us to do. There's something that Krishna wants us to do. And there's a very, and the third point is, the right motivation, the courage to ask the right thing in the right way. That's again, sometimes we think, I'm doing the right thing, right? It's not enough to do the right thing. We must do the right thing the right way. Sometimes we go and try to correct people. Hey, don't do this, don't do that. We go and correct, but it's not just doing the right thing. Sometimes we need to do it in a right way, say things in the proper way. So when we go and ask Krishna for help, we don't do it in an improper way. We do it in a proper way. So what does proper way mean? I want to share this, again, this story of, there was a disciple of Ramanujacharya, and they wanted to kill Ramanujacharya. And so Ramanujacharya put on white and he escaped, and one of his disciples, Kuresh, he put on saffron clothes of Ramanujacharya, and these rascals caught him thinking that he was Ramanujacharya, and they plucked his eyes out. And because they were really envious and they really wanted to stop him from spreading Vaishnavism. So the point is, when Kuresh did not have his eyes and he served the spiritual master, right? The reason for which he actually lost his eyes was he was serving the spiritual master. See, again, we must see the purpose behind and the purpose ahead. It's always like two sides. So then Ramanujacharya told him, hey, but why don't you go to the Lord and ask him for your eyes back? Why haven't you? You've served spiritual master and the Lord will immediately give you. He said, no, but then it would be sense gratification. I did the service for you, but asking the eyes back would be for me. So you see, I don't want to do that. And then Ramanujacharya told him this instruction. He said, please go to the Lord and tell him that the property of my spiritual master is incomplete. If you so desire, please complete it. And then Quresh went to the Lord and he said exactly this prayer. The property of my spiritual master is incomplete. So if you so desire, please restore it. And he got his eyes back. This is the mystical story, we're just talking about Ramanujacharya, who is, a few hundreds years ago, is not even like mythology, is real story. So similarly, there's another example from Chaitanya Leela as well. His Govinda Das, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's assistant, one time Mahaprabhu was sleeping, he was resting in the room and he had to do his service, right? And Mahaprabhu was resting peacefully and he had to go inside the room, but Mahaprabhu was lying there and he didn't know what to do. And he crossed over Mahaprabhu because he had to go and sit there and to do the service. So he crossed Mahaprabhu. You're not supposed to cross your spiritual master, your Lord, by crossing them over physically. He did it, but then he didn't cross back. He sat inside the room until Mahaprabhu woke up. And then when Mahaprabhu woke up, he said, what are you doing here? Why are you still here? And he explained, well, I had to do my service to you, so I crossed you over and I came. He said, so you already crossed me over. So what was your problem to go back crossing over? He said, well, I crossed over because I could serve you, but going would be for me. So I didn't want to do it. So this is another example also, like, what's the purpose behind what we did and what's the purpose for which we are doing? So we need to consider both this. So this is my 3-level answer. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. It does make a lot of sense. But in you answering the question, it also opened up another question because, see, we talk about these exceptionally highly elevated pure devotees of the Lord and their activities. And we try to learn lessons from the activities. And because most of us are very, very conditioned, most of us have not even yet started devotional service. How do we learn from their activities? Mm-hmm. For example, how it is said in the purport that Maharaj Parikshit understood that the curse that Brahmin's son had inflicted upon him was the will of the Lord. Now, if something is happening to me, which is against my will or against my desire, how do I know that this is the will of the Lord? So I just let it go. And does that mean that as we're trying to be devotees, we do not try to do anything to correct certain mistakes that come our way? It's kind of difficult. I remember that is why my Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Maharaj had Institute for Applied Spiritual Technology. In other words, there is always a technique to whatever science that is being taught. And if we do not apply the technique properly, we may have all the answers, the keys, and we still will not be able to achieve the desired results. So the question boils down to, as struggling aspirants, devotees, how do we know that these 2 dogs you were describing earlier on, how do I know the voice telling me do and the other voice telling me don't do? How do I know which is the bad dog, which is the good dog? Hare Krishna.
Okay, so actually the answer is quite simple. There are again 3-level answers. The first level answer is we ask Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra when we are in doubt. Okay, this is like a foundational level answer. We ask the Guru. Let's say somebody falls in love with a girl and they want to get married to them, right? Is it a good dog or the bad dog? Is it love or is it lust? And it can be applied the other way around. I'm sick and tired of this partner of mine. I want to divorce, right? Is it the good dog or the bad dog, right? So then you know, we don't make a decision on our own. We go to the spiritual master and we ask and I was reading recently Srila Prabhupada telling one devotee disciple, oh, you're telling that your marriage is giving you problem and your wife is not favorable for your devotional life. That's not how a devotee thinks. Everything is happening because of the will of the Lord. And it's not that because this person's association is unfavorable, I'm going to leave her. You know, Prabhupada writes about that. So he's preaching to the bad dog in this person, whoever wrote, saying, I want Vanaprastha life. I'm tired of my wife, you know. And Prabhupada goes on, a devotee doesn't think, oh, this thing is unfavorable and I'm going to give it up. No, like, you know, the devotee actually tries to, first part of the answer. Okay, that's the first part of the answer. We ask Guru. We refer to literature, we refer to Guru, we refer to sadhus, we refer to people who know us. Okay, we cannot, again, the point is Parikshit Maharaj went out. He took the shelter of Shukadeva Goswami, he took shelter of the sages. He didn't go and lock himself up in the room and who knows what, you know, become depressed or whatever, right? Or make some impulsive decision. No, he sought help. So take help of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. This is the first answer. The second level answer is, it's not a overnight transformation or solution. It's like, it's not that overnight we will know this is Krishna's will, and you know, it's not so easy. It needs to be done one day at a time. Okay, it's about surrendering our life one day at a time. Sometimes one day even is very long, so we do 1 hour at a time. This hour, I'm going to give my life to Maya. I'm not going to give my life to fear. I'm not going to give my life to anger and envy. For this 1 hour, Krishna, I give my life to you. You please guide me, right? So that the Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada named our movement Krishna consciousness, because everything is based on consciousness. If I wake up every day and I have this mood, the mentality, the prayer, Krishna, I offer myself to you. Please work with me. Please relieve me from this bondage of self. May I do your will, Krishna. Please relieve me of all these difficulties of mind so I can be your servant. May I do thy will always. May I do your will always, Krishna. If that is my motivation when I wake up in the morning, that's what is going to drive me for the rest of the day. Let me get my rounds done. Let me get my service done. You know, empty mind, devil's workshop. So when we don't actually work for God, when we don't actually, there is an expression, I don't know if it's appropriate to say this, it just really comes to my mind, okay? They say 100% is a breeze, no? 99% is a bitch. It means when we decide 100%, I'm working for God, I'm working for Krishna, I'm done with my self-will, I'm done with my false ego making decisions for me, you know, like 100%. And one day at a time. It's not about for the rest of my life. That's kind of in the mode of passion and ignorance. But that determination that for today, Krishna, please give me that strength, you know, 100% conviction. I want to work for Krishna. I don't want to give into my mind's games. Not today. Not today. So when we do that, it becomes, then the third thing is forming that habit, giving ourselves higher taste. See, at least me, I usually fear that if I hand over the control of my life to Krishna, who knows what will happen? You know, like there's so much of control there, right? Fear, what this person will think, what will happen to this, what will happen to that. There's so much, the controlling mentality, tendency to control is so huge that a mind gets clouded. But how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I control this? How do I know if it's Krishna or not? The point is when was it this verse? I was reading some verse this morning, Bhagavatam, another section, I guess, or just before this section. When we are working for Krishna, we feel fulfilled in the end. And when we are not working for Krishna, mind is disturbed. There's hankering. There is resentment, right? That's the way also to check ourselves and see, am I really aligned? And if we're not, we take the time. We sit down, we pray, Krishna, please help me to align to your will. And then what happens? We give it to Krishna. And if there's an unfavorable situation, Krishna, please, if you so desire, please remove this difficulty. Krishna, if you so desire, please solve this for me. Otherwise, there may be some unmet needs. Maybe I want to get married and I'm not finding a partner. Maybe I want, whatever it is, I want a job. Then we go to Krishna. He cares about us. He cares whether you have a need that's unmet or a pain that you're suffering. He cares about it. So we go to him and say, Krishna, I hand this over to you. I don't know what to do with this relationship, or I don't know what to do with this neighbor, or I don't know what to do with this job. I don't know what to do with my boss. I don't know what to do with my child, whatever it is. We go to Krishna honestly, sincerely looking into our heart and say, Krishna, I have whatever it is. I have anger, I have resentment, I have envy. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm willing to take responsibility for. I mean, if any of you would like to actually explore, if you Google, you can actually see there is this, in this recovery thing, there's this thing called 4th step. Okay, in that 4th step, there are 5 columns. The first column is, who do you have resentment towards? Say, I have resentment towards my neighbor. Okay, next, what did they do that you felt resentment? They did not invite me for their birthday party. Okay, the 3rd column, how does it affect me? It affects my sense of self-esteem. It affects my self-respect. It affects my sense of security. Okay, the 4th column, right? Most important column. And the 4th column says, what is your fault in it? What is your responsibility? See, first 3, we are very easily filling up, right? When the 4th column comes, it's very difficult. It requires a lot of honesty. And the 4th column is, my fault. I have expectations. I have jealousy. I have self-will. I have selfishness. Me, why didn't they invite me? That's my fault. You see that taking responsibility in front of God, because Krishna knows already, but I need to admit it, right? Like, I'm getting wet in the rain. Krishna knows that. I'm myself not admitting. So I'm staying outside the Govardhan hill. I'm not going under. So that's like a 4th step. And then the 5th step is, the 5th column is, how can I set things straight? How can I set things straight? I can keep my side of the road clean. Even if somebody is misbehaving, like Parikshit Maharaj. He kept his side of the road clean, right? He did not counter curse. He did not freak out. He didn't make a campaign against this little boy. He kept his side of the street clean. I'm going to accept the Krishna's will. I have to do Krishna's will. And I'm going to accept this thing. I'm going to take shelter of the devotees. He focused on what he can do. And this is what I have in front of my mirror. Mind your own business. Right? When we have problems with others and we get our head around, that person did that, they should learn this lesson, I can't tolerate it. Mind your own business. Like, focus on what I need to do. Anyway, that's, do we have any other questions from anybody else? Anything in the chat? No.
No.
Okay.
Anybody else with any question, comment?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Sri Govinda.
Hare Krishna.
Govinda Prabhu has a question to Sri Radha Govinda. Beautiful.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yeah, this is like Mata is giving us a very, very sweet answers to the questions you're pushing. But
really, you thought it was sweet. I thought that was quite bitter medicine.
yes, Yeah, sometimes, something is bitter, but if you keep churning, then it becomes nectar, and that nectar can lead us eternally. So this is real nectar, real nectar. Thank you so much. But my simple question was that if we actually surrendered, then why do we have to again go before Krishna and tell him to help us to do this, to do this, and to do that, to give
Mm.
up this, to give up this, and to give up that? Krishna knows it already. He knows what is good for us. Just like a child or a baby crying, the baby simply crying, but the mother can understand what she needs at that particular moment, that particular time. When Prahlad Maharaj was touched by his father, he didn't pray for anything. He was only glorifying Krishna. That's all he did. So individually, we have a lot of problems. And Krishna knows our problems because he is within our heart. He knows us. And he knows exactly what we need. And he knows exactly what we deserve. So do we really have to go to Krishna and always write a list? Help me to do this, help me to do this, and help me to do that. Or is better we just say that will be there?
It's a good question. Draupadi, she was in trouble, and until she called out to Krishna, she was, talk about surrender, find another devotee who is more surrendered than Draupadi. She was very surrendered devotee. She had surrendered her life, her will, her life, everything, okay? But she had to call him. She had to call for him. So surrender is not just like a one-time thing. A lot of devotees, if you ask, oh, are you willing to give your life? Are you willing to surrender? Everybody will say yes. But when the alarm rings at 4 o'clock, how many of us every day can get up and finish those rounds? So the surrender is not calculated by one, like a moment of thought. Surrender is every single action, every single thought. Are we able to hand it over to Krishna? Every single need, are we able to hand it over to Krishna? That's the first side of the perspective. The second is, we don't need to write things for Krishna. It's for us. We are dishonest. We are selfish. We are envious. We are jealous. We want to put a board, I'm surrendered. I'm very fallen. I am such a horrible person. I'm very, very wretched soul. We want to put that label. But then what actually is happening inside is I am just selfish. I'm just envious. I'm just angry. And I'm just completely focused on myself. There is no surrender there. We don't want to surrender jealousy, anger, envy, insecurity. We don't want to. So the point is, we don't only go and say, Krishna, I'm feeling cold today. Please give me a sweater. It's not the basic level of please give me the daily bread. No, we don't need to do that. Prabhupada said we don't need to do that. But we need to go with our anarthas. Only somebody who is so pure, that they have no anarthas whatsoever, still they'll go. That's the point, because naturally they'll go to Krishna and they'll ask for benefit of others, like Prahlad Maharaj, right? And he says, what's the verse? There's a beautiful verse, Vaitaranyas, when he says that all these nonsensical people, they're so foolish that making some elaborate plans for their own sense gratification. So Prahlad Maharaj goes, I'm very, very worried for them, Nrsingadev. Please, protect them, save them from there. So even the greatest devotee who has no selfish interest, he's going and expressing his worry. And what is his worry? Is the other fallen souls. So for us, the worry should be our own fallenness, meaning looking at our own anarthas. So the point is, we have to go to Krishna with whatever we have. And sometimes all we have is just character defects. But we go to Krishna, we take shelter of Krishna. Because the external statement, the board, right? We can put like a nice pendant, nice board, whatever it is. I'm a surrender devotee, I'm initiated, I'm second initiated. I know my Guru Maharaj just visited my home a few days ago, whatever it is. We may have our own, I'm very surrendered, I gave this much donation to my guru, all those kind of things we may have, surrender. But how much am I willing to surrender my intentions? How much am I willing to surrender my motivations? So going to Krishna is not about asking for some mundane, how do you say, desires, but it's also to ask for purification, ask for the taste to chant the holy names, ask for that shelter, that soothing shelter, and ask for empowerment so that we can help other souls who are drowning. So Krishna likes us to connect with him. He's a person. He, it's like if you have a friend, right? If you have a friend in India, would you like that person to connect with you, message you on WhatsApp, send some pictures of Mayapur elephant procession or some Kirtan Mela? Or you would just say, oh no, shouldn't be bothered, the person, what's it's there, just, why should they do it? You like that person to stay in touch with you, whether it's for positive things or if they are in trouble. Similarly, Krishna likes to hear from us. We are communicating a lot on Facebook, on WhatsApp, and who knows what other social media platforms. So much communication. And then to communicate with Krishna, we will think 20 times, not 20 times, 28 million times. Oh, but really, why should I? So the point is, like, I personally, I really, is like a saving grace for me. I journal every day saying, not just today this happened, that happened, but journal, Krishna, I've been selfish in this regard. I've been dishonest in this regard. I have been, whatever it is, I'm grateful for this. That sense of connection to Krishna is what is purifying. That act, that everyday act, every minute act. And my personal experience is completely different. One thing is to think Krishna knows. Yeah, he knows, but do I know? Am I acknowledging where I am? So it's for us, and Krishna likes us to keep in touch. And ultimately, the more we connect with him, then we can actually pray for others and get empowerment for others. Anyway, that's my... I don't know if you still think my answer was sweet, but...
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
See, Sri Radha Govinda Devi, may I ask you a personal question? See, I have been hearing the devotees speak. I've been reading the scriptures and listening to tapes here and there. So I know a little bit about what pure devotees' relationship with Krishna is. But coming to myself at my level, I remember I once read where Srila Prabhupada was saying that devotees should pray, but at the same time he was saying that devotees should like pray a selected prayer. In other words, we have to pray accordingly. For example, I cannot pray like Mother Kunti for Krishna to bring upon me calamities upon calamities. That would be me going beyond my capabilities. So I know the highest and the greatest prayer is thy will be done. But because I am not on that level yet, I said I'm asking a personal question. I do not pray like that. I do not pray to Krishna that Krishna, your will be done. Because Krishna's will may be that I do not more have a wife and I'm not ready to be single yet. Okay. So instead of praying to Krishna that thy will be done, I pray to Krishna, Krishna, this is my plan. If even it's not good for me, you can make it good. And if you can make it good for me. And if you feel that it's not good for me, then do as you wish. So in the long run, I end up saying thy will be done. but I do not go straight forward asking the Lord, thy will be done. I try to ask for what I believe will be beneficial to me. And if that doesn't work out because Krishna doesn't want that to happen, then whatever he wants, he makes it happen. But I find it very unnecessary that when a devotee is ill, then a devotee is praying to Krishna, if you so wish. To me, that, excuse me to say, doesn't make sense. I am sick. If I pray to Krishna that, Krishna, I do not want this pain, I do not want this illness, but if you so wish that I still have this illness, it's okay with me. But the second or third person praying for me shouldn't pray as such, shouldn't pray to Krishna that if you so wish, because I do not want to see the person sick going through such pain. So I'm pleading with Krishna for Krishna to do something about it. So I pray to Krishna, please help this person out of this particular situation. It's not even for myself. If it's for myself, then I may say, if you so wish. But it's for somebody else. Then I try to appeal to Krishna, that Krishna, please intervene. Now, this thought and approach I have in my tender devotional service, do you think it's helpful? Do you think it's appropriate? If there is something I need to do about it, Sri Radha Govinda, this is for you.
Okay, thank you for the question. I totally related to it. I identify a lot with that. What I want to say is, this will be the last question because it's 10 p.m. for me.
Yes,
and
yes.
I need to get to sleep so I can wake up early. Now, first of all, this sincere awareness that I know that shall be done is what is my goal, but I'm not willingly yet there. So, it's a very, very good thing to have that awareness. Second, it's good to take a look and see, why am I not having that full faith? Why I don't immediately ask that? See, it's usually because of some experience, maybe with parents or some authority figures not really doing the best for us. So we have that conditioning and we tend to project that on Krishna. We think that Krishna is also like our father or mother or some authority we had, that we had posed our faith in them. They didn't exactly do what was good for us. So there is all this garbage, the conditioning, the samskaras. So it's important to discriminate between the Supreme Lord who wants the best benefactor, the best friend of all living entities, who is the Paramatma sitting in the heart, who wants the best for me, versus my experience in this world of people who wish well for me, etc., etc. Right? So that's like looking at why my faith is not strong. And third is, if we've gone through some painful experiences in life, like we made certain decisions, certain relationships, or certain anything, it could be properties, whatever it is, and we failed miserably, it gives us a taste of what self-will looks like, right? However, we say some person we were so in love with and we thought we cannot live without that person. After a couple of years, we didn't want to live with that person. We wanted to die if we had to be with that person. So those experiences make us realize that our feelings change, our priorities change, our emotions change. But what remains is Krishna loves us and wants the best for us. That's what is the absolute truth, that never changes. Everything else may change, right? And whether it's favorable or not to ask in this kind of, what I see is your prayer seems to be like installment basis,
I think you're right. Yeah,
it's like you don't want to pay the whole amount. You want to pay in installments. You want to pay because you trust that you want the service. You don't want the service to be disconnected because you know that the service is working. but you want to pay in installments. So you're like, I have this desire, please, if it's not good, please make it good. And if in case really is really bad for me, then okay, do something, but do it in a soft way, don't use your sharp, diamond-like nails and rip my desire off like you ripped off Hiranyakashipu's heart. I'm not so strong. Please be gentle with me. We go, step by step, right? Installment basis, we surrender, right? And then ultimately we go and we say, okay, if you have to rip me off and if it has to be painful, make it quick, right? We have all these. I relate to you. I must say I have those similar things. For me, it's been like this, going to the Lord and connecting with him. Sometimes I'm not feeling to go and say, thy will, not mine, be done. Okay. I'm not in that mood. But the point is, I still go to the Lord. I still offer whatever tulasi, or I still do parikrama. And I'm just, there is a song by one of our Vaishnavacharyas. He says, Kama dalini tande, krodha dalini tande, tamasa duryoni alini tande, tande ni tande na bande, na ninna hinde. Hindina janma hyangadaragali, mundenna salaho puradara vithala. Kamadali ni tande. Whether I'm completely submerged and drowning in lust, still you are my Father, my eternal Father, who can forgive me for my lust. Even if I'm made 100 mistakes due to my anger and I messed up my life, you're still my eternal Father who wants to save me. Right? Even if I'm like a worm in the stool body, you're still coming in and residing in my heart as Paramatma. How, see, that's the mercy of the Lord, right? He's there all the time in our mistaken moments, in our messed up moments, in every situation. The Lord is there with us. He never gives up on us. And he says, oh, you want to do this sin? You want to do this mistake? He'll still be there with you. But then, of course, we have to go through the consequence. That's the thing, right? We have to go through the consequence of whatever. But if we can, like Sattva Guna, somebody in the mode of goodness can pray by looking at others. I don't want to suffer like them. We see others making mistakes, right? And we say, why this person doesn't surrender to Krishna? We think it's more easy. But when we are unable, it's not easy. But the truth is, the more we can practice, please, Krishna, I offer myself to you. Please do for me what is best for me. Sometimes it's also playing with the words, editing the words in a way that your mind, see, this is, your heart wants Krishna, but it's just the mind. The mind is like 99%, right? That's the bitch. 99% I want to surrender. And that 1% completely drives us nuts. That 1% is going haywire. So if we can just tell, Krishna, I offer myself to you, Krishna. Please do for me whatever is the best for me, because that's what we want, right? We want the best. I may look at something very fancy, glassy thing, which we think it looks like diamond. I want it. But no, what I want is happiness. What I want is peace. What I want is fulfillment. It's not that thing that is looking very fancy and attractive. That's not what I want. What I want, that's why it's good to ask ourselves, why do I want this person? Why do I want this girl or boy or car or whatever it is? Because I want to feel good. I want to feel secure. I want to feel loved. So then we go to Krishna and say, Krishna, please make me feel loved. Make me feel fulfilled. Make me feel secure. That's intelligence. Maha Buddhe. Intelligence means asking for what really matters, not ask for something that's going to complicate our lives. Not just because, oh, this guy doesn't really like me. I want to prove that I'm lovable. I'll make him really like me. And then maybe that guy is a narcissist who's going to abuse you and is not a good guy for you. I'm saying guy because I see a bunch of beautiful ladies here. It could be girl too, right? You see this girl really pretty and everything, so sweet. And your fantasy says that, oh, if I could just come home to this woman. But who knows what actually is going to look like when you come home to that woman. Krishna is probably trying to protect you, right? But you want, like, what you want is peace and harmony and happiness at home. But we attach this woman to be fulfilling that. And Krishna is saying, I care for what you really want. This is going to be an obstacle to what you actually want. And boy, I'm telling you, it's really hard to see Krishna's hand, but it's one day at a time. It's surrendering one day at a time, one thought at a time, chanting good rounds every day, associating with devotees, praying, like you were saying, having that one prayer. My favorite is to ask that, thy will, not mine, be done. Your Krishna, please help me to align to your will. Every acharya, every demigod, everything I say, please let me align to Krishna's will. Let me align to Krishna's will. Because that's ultimately is what's going to save us. Okay. So we have some comment, something I see here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's really late. Your time, it's past 10 o'clock. So thank you so much. We'll let you go. And well, there are few statements in the chat room. People are expressing, devotees expressing their appreciation for your class. And please, when you do go back, please extend my humblest dandavats to Shri Kantiya Prabhu for me.
Yeah, he's already in the dreamland. He's sleeping. Tell him tomorrow.
Yeah, he is a very special devotee to me in my devotional life. So
I just wanted to say one thing. Flavia, she just came on the video with the beautiful baby.
Yeah.
I see Lord Nrsimhadev in the background.
Yes.
So I just have to say, today's topic is about that sense of allowing the Lord to rip off our anarthas and our character defects, and then protect that bhakti in us, protect that little Prahlad. And like rip off that Hiranyakashipu. Sometimes it's like, the people who are alcohol addicts, right? They have to be, the alcohol bottle has to be snatched away from them. It's painful. Only after that beautiful nails of Nrsimhadev can rip open, only after that is healing possible. Otherwise it's not. So thank you for the Nrsimhadev picture. It's a great reminder to ask Nrsimhadev, please be gentle when you remove my anarthas, but at the same time, let me align to your will and awaken my bhakti now in my heart. So thank you very much to all of you for attending this lecture.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we ask all the devotees to unmute and we chant Big Hare Krishna to express our appreciation for Mother's presence here. Jai Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare
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 Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare. All glories to Her Grace Shri Radha Govinda Devi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you
you.
for ripping open Sadhiv's heart of trying to bag a decision.
Oh, Shri Salika. Thank you for the blessing. My heart is ripped apart. The anarthas are coming out.
That's a good one.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. You all have a blessed and wonderful weekend. So we'll meet again next week.
Haribo.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Thank you very much, Dev Sade. You're
Hare
doing very
Krishna.
wonderful.
Thank you, Shri Salika.
Actually, you are saving all of us. Thank you so
No.
much for the savers.
Yeah, you saving me, you helping me, Prabhuji. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for it.
Haribo.